Hi, Leo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 31st, 2020 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you are interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be located in the description box below. Now, before I begin this reading, let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from your body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bowls sing as I move your Moonology and your Queen of the Moon cards over to the side. These will be later layered on top of the tarot to really give the moon, to really give Luna a voice of her own. Okay. Leo, how will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. All right, fantastic. One bonus card. I need to put these cards right here. Okay, perfect. Now, the left-hand side, this is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side is the public arena, the public self. And then we have your bonus card. And we will be going into the moon right here. I have it all laid out for us. And this is really an exciting, excuse me, an exciting moon because it's right kind of at the tail end of Mercury retrograde. So it's coming out of a very tough time for us. Yeah, where I keep on having this catch in my throat right now, where it feels as if our words have been snatched back, as if, things aren't moving forward in the way that we want them to. And this moon hasn't been seen for 19 years. So that's super exciting. It is not only a full moon in Taurus, but it is a blue moon, and it is a full moon, a blue moon that falls on Samhain, on Halloween, and this is just amazing. The energy here is so intensely beautiful, and this is exactly what we need in our world right now. This type of energy, this type of beauty, this type of coming together. So we start off, oh my gosh, with the King of Cups here as your inner self. You're really learning that you are the king of you. As we as human beings are always learning about ourselves, we can only rule us. And that really gives you the power here. It amplifies this Cancer energy, a time frame of June 21st to July 22nd, of moving forward towards what you love, towards what you desire. And as you do so, you're really looking at the past and moving forward in the present of where you need to be. And this is kind of like giving homage. It's like, yes, I know the past has shaped me, has moved me forward, but it doesn't get to control my life. And it doesn't get to, it doesn't get to take over. And then that leads you to the Knight of Cups, to being a defender of your heart. So inwardly, your inner self is really connecting with your emotional self, which is absolutely beautiful, because I believe that we are emotional beings, and as emotional beings, we need to connect with our hearts. If we do not connect with our hearts, we feel less than. We really do. And as much power and as much determination as we have, if we're not tuned in emotionally, it feels like it all just doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have that same meaning. And because right here you have the King of Wands. So you're claiming the throne with your heart, which has your heart claiming the throne of you, and really giving things meaning as you move forward from heartbreak, from disappointment, from despair. You have Capricorn energy coming forward. This is December 22nd to January 19th. It is a sense of, it is a sense of leaving behind a lot of addictions, or really facing them head on and saying, do I want this to keep dictating my life? And it can be traditional addictions, drugs, alcohol, gambling, going into, then food, shopping, sex, and I forget another one, but anyone that there are meetings for. And so here it's facing those addictions, yes, but it's also facing the addiction of people pleasing. It can also be facing the addiction of seeing too many sides of the story, looking at things too many different ways, or letting people's negative comments really kind of get at you. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, oh, I don't like the sound of you breathing when you do the readings. And I sit there and I don't know how not to breathe and talk at the same time. It's going to be those type of things where you sit there and you're like, well, I don't know how to solve that problem. Thank you very much, though, for thinking it is one. And that's going to be what you're doing here. It's like looking at things where it can be frustrating, because you're like, okay. And then, and not taking it personally. So that is just the example that Spirit was showing me, because I was trying not to breathe too loudly. The Ace of Wands is being taken right here, and this is a beautiful gift of passion, of power, of brilliance, of understanding that you are absolutely moving forward with, and it is a gift just for you. And it's like, this is what you want, isn't it? This is what you want. This is where you want to be. This is how you want to move forward. And then as you embrace your heart, you're leaving behind a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of disappointments. You have that coming through right here, where it's kind of like, either you let this heartbreak that has become an addiction within your life, you let it rule, or you sit there and you say, no, I'm facing it, I'm looking at it, I'm owning the pain, and I'm moving away into my grace, into my love, into my brilliance, into my understanding. And it moves me to the Fool. It moves me to being able to move forward in a beauty of understanding, in a hero's path, and in a true constellation of soul and of self. It moves you to an absolute glory that cannot be denied, a happiness that comes in. And it brings you to the Page of Swords. Being a student, there is so much that you're learning come the full moon in Gemini on November 30th. There's so many different things that you are looking at, and you're really being prepared for it during this time with the full moon in Taurus. And then we have Justice coming in. Justice is also discernment. It is sitting there and saying, I get to choose the energy I want within my life. I get to choose how I respond to things. I get to choose. And as I choose, I am empowered, I am emboldened, and I move forward. And that is really quite brilliant. It really, really is. Now, this full moon, let's get talking about it, because I am so excited. It is the full moon in Taurus, which is the most solid and most sensual of the moons. And I just love that energy coming around us. So here it says, your dreams need a practical plan. And this is a time where you're really looking at the practicality of building that solid foundation to move forward. You're not in a hurry for change, though there are elements of change within this moon that are going to be pushing you forward, mostly the spirit animals. But there is this sense here that you will not make change that is not in alignment with your soul and yourself. And you have to be really, really honest with you. This isn't kind of like looking at change and telling one person one thing and another person the other and building up plans, but none of them are really what you want. They're what others want to hear. And so that isn't going to serve you well. During this time, Leo, being open and honest about what you want from life, how you want to move forward, is going to be a foundational absolute for the way that you move forward in what you desire. Because the blue moon says, believe in the impossible. This cultivates our patience and builds our power. And this has us taking a step back to look at what's truly important. What do we really want? Because sometimes what we really want can seem impossible. And we can see this with the Three of Swords and the Three of Cups. It's like, okay, this heartbreak leads to 6, because, of course, 3 plus 3 equals 6. And you're looking here, and it's like the heartbreak leads to a not being able to move forward, leads to a doubt and a fear that colors everything. I'm just thinking, and oh my gosh, I always forget her name whenever I'm doing readings, because I remember this card reminded me of it once before, or yeah, the Six of Cups. It's like in Great Expectations. The woman who wears her wedding dress as it's rotting on her, sitting there, wishing that she could change the past and never having a future because she's living solely in the past and in the destruction of that moment. And if Dickens can write about it and it was true then, it is a human truth. And we see it time and time again. We see it, in the Iliad, in the Odyssey. We see it repeated in the motifs of human nature and human stories, because we see human nature through our stories. And so here, when you're looking at the rare beauty that's coming in, you're really looking at the truth of what you want and saying, are the heartbreaks, the pains, the disappointment going to define me? Or is this time to move forward? Is this time to rebuild and to say, I'm not going to be kept down. I'm not going to let them win. This is a release of what no longer serves us. This is what Halloween brings forward. And as we release what no longer serves us, we face our fears. And we face difficult truths, things that we might not need or want to know about ourselves. And this is a great time for connecting with our ancestors and ancestral power. You might find yourself very drawn to a period in history that you might not think has anything to do with you. But it can be even your ancestors from a past life that are watching over you, guiding you forward. And this leads you, yes, to having turbulent emotions, because it's like a lot is coming at you, but it also leads you to an embracing, a surrendering to the divine as you move forward and embracing the power and the grace that you want from life. With the veil, especially on Samhain, being the thinnest and being so absolutely powerful for us to connect with our truths, with our ancestors, with our angels, with our spirit guides, with divinity. We see us moving forward in a way that we might not have expected. This can be through meditation, but this can also be just through questing, just through questioning, just through looking at things differently. I would highly suggest meditation during this time, because it will give you a balance here of the heart and of your passion that you most definitely need. And as you do so, there is a sense of working through fears. Now, this is on the 15th of November. We have the new moon in Scorpio. And the new moon in Scorpio says, work through your fears. And this is a lot of what's being brought up in the full moon in Taurus. It's that solid foundation. But the full moon in Taurus is more comfortable. It's kind of like that nice, cozy pair of slippers. It's like having a nice hot cup of tea in front of a roaring fire with, a blanket pulled over your shoulders. It's just cozy and nice. It makes you feel warm and cuddly inside. So that energy also is a time where you're looking at things from, Shaman, from the blue moon. You're looking at things more openly and honestly for yourself, and you're standing in the grounded stabilization, in the grounded truth of you. And so you're looking at things and you're questioning, you're kind of pushing out of your comfort zone, but you like being comfortable. That's part of course, Taurian energy, likes being comfortable, likes having solid foundations around them. And it moves you towards working through your fears, because it's like, okay, I feel grounded. Okay, I see this truth. I see this power. I see this understanding, and I can move forward in it. And it brings you to new situations coming forward, new starts coming forward. And it lets you have that silence. It lets you have that silence to embrace and to understand how you want to move towards your goals. Not how everybody else wants you to, but how you want to move towards your goals. And then it's also making that rational plan to face fears, to move forward, to understand. And it brings you to new beginnings. And this is a sense of, there's a heck of a lot of communication that needs to be done. a heck of a lot of grounding and of talking and of, understanding, of empowering, but there's a sense of new beginnings coming forward and a real release of endings. I always think of the new moon as a time with Janus, and Janus is the god of, the god of beginnings and endings in Roman mythology. And so we have that God coming in of beginnings and endings, the God whose name was given to our word January for the beginning of the year. And so it's the beginnings, it's the endings, it's the portal into a new time, into a new place for us. And it's getting that silence to embrace that comprehension of what we desire, of what we need, of where we want to be. And as we do this, we sting towards our truth. It's kind of like we're backing away from the toxicity in this world. And even in our own human natures, it's kind of like, no, I don't want that. And as we release that poison, as we sting, as we hit our bullseye, we're going to find ourselves stepping into more power. And this leads us to the full moon in Gemini, which is also a lunar eclipse, which says here conclusions are within reach. It's like things start coming together. And as things start coming together, you have the full moon in Gemini say the answers you need are coming. The answers you need are coming, and things are falling into alignment. And that's going to be a very powerful place for you to be as you've looked at the stabilizing factors of yourself, as you kind of sunk your feet into the ground, and as you've released a lot of negativity that was holding you back before. And as the answers start to come, you start to formulate and find new questions, new ways forward, new understandings to guide. And then this brings us to the spirit animals of October. We have one day left in October and then November. And so this has me really excited because for the last day of October, and on a day where the spirit world and our earthly plane have such a thin veil, have such a profound connection. All right, we have the crow and we have the dove, which seem like absolute conflicting birds. I mean, they're both birds, right? So they have that in common, but that seems about it. With the crow, all right? The crow is in our psyches. We as human beings see the crow as a very menacing bird. We see the crow, we see the raven, we see vultures. They're not birds that we want around. It means dead things have come, all right? And that can spread disease, yes, but they also came after battles, okay? And this is in bygone days, they showed us where the battles were, because they devoured our fallen. And there's something rather unsavory, distasteful about that. And yet, it's kind of like they also clean up our mess of the hurt and the pain and the hate and the anger that we create. And so here with the crow spirit, when you see a flock of crows, they're called a murder of crows for that reason, because they followed death. And death, some would say, back in the ancient world, would say death followed them. And then you have the dove, which is a symbol of peace in a lot of religions, is a symbol of hope. And it says here, with the crow, and it's so interesting because it says with the crow, co-create with spirit. And it says with the dove, be peace. So the dove is expected, but with the crow, for you to co-create with spirit seems odd. It does seem odd. How does a harbinger of doom co-create with you, co-create with spirit, co-create with anything? It's because the crow brings forward change. It also brings forward sacred law. It shows us the sacred cycle of life, whether we like it or whether we don't. And as this comes forward, it's trusting in our personal integrity and intuition. It's speaking our truth. And it's trusting that our truth has value. Have you found yourself, Leo? Like speaking a truth, speaking something that in your heart rings true. But when you try to articulate to people, you might think, oh, wrong crowd. Like I shouldn't be saying this to these people. Or, you might sit there and think, well, I don't know how to translate it from an internal truth, from a sacred law for me, and something that makes absolute sense to me, to have it make sense to anybody else. Keep that as your sacred truth, because you're going through personal transformations, and the crow is bringing messages to you. It's bringing messages of your voice, of your power, of your integrity, and of your intuition. And it doesn't mean that you have to start being this fierce warrior that, can defeat, the oppositions put in front of them, instantaneously. it means that you have faith within yourself and you have power within your words. And you start to see when you don't, and it's like, well, why? Why will I let them think this of me or that of me or take away my glory? And it's like, you're not. You're not. You're moving forward as the force. And it's the force of the night and the dark that we have here. It's a force of what we don't want to see, what we want to hide away and say, oh no, that's not right. And then it's the force of peace and of beauty that we want to say, oh, that's only what we live in. It's the self that we want to show the world. And then also the shadowed self that we sit there and say, oh no, I can't possibly. But then it's seeing that there's power within that shadowed self. And so when we embrace peace and hear what the dove is bringing us, it's bringing us peace and hope, especially when our hearts are hurting. And during this time in our world, whose heart isn't hurting? Who hasn't had enough? And then as we embrace this, it brings us gentle compassion. And it releases us from the pain that has held us back for so long, that has kept us from where we want to be. And come October, we have the healing energy of the snake spirit and the eel spirit. Now I laugh because, you would sit there and think, okay, these are healing. No, they can both be poisonous. They can be, I don't know if eels can be poisonous. I don't know about eels, but they're scary. They're scary looking, and they're not exactly the prettiest things. People don't sit there and go, oh, snakes are so awesomely gorgeous, all the time. They'll sit there and talk about swans and things like that. But with the snake, it says here, it's time to heal. And in October, it's time to heal. All right, Leo? And as you embrace this healing, you embrace the opportunities to heal. You see opportunities coming forward. You see change. You see the importance of transition and a shedding of a skin. And this is going to be a really powerful time for you, because that transition of shedding a skin is so in alignment with where you are right now. And so here, come October, there's a real sense of healing. There's a real sense of stepping into your power, into your grace, and into your understanding. But there is also a sense of vulnerability, because when a snake sheds its skin, its eyesight isn't the greatest. So it makes them a bit quicker to react, a bit quicker to hide away. And even though after this transition, or as we're going through and coming towards the end of this transition, we have more energy, more insight, more focus. Okay, the transition can be painful. It can be intense, and it can be something that we even need to heal from. And we have the duality in our mythologies, in our minds, in the imagery that comes up of, we have the snake, and I don't know if I'm going to be butchering this word, but it's the Asclepion, the staff of the two snakes, and of course the staff that is the staff of healers, is the symbol still of today of healers, of medicine. And then we have the serpent that tempts, and the serpent that brings forward the fall of man. And so you're going to have that energy around you. It's like, do I heal or do I fall? And it is also, the serpent that brings forward the fall of man brought forward knowledge that told them, okay, it isn't what you think. And is that necessarily a bad thing? To have knowledge coming forward and saying, paradise doesn't last forever. And beauty is something we have to seek. And then it brings the eel forward, which says, here, bring your ideas to life. And embrace your emotions, embrace your strength, embrace your foresight to have those ideas and ideals come forward and be part of your waking world. Because you're claiming the throne right here. You are claiming the throne. You are putting the crown on your head. And you are saying, I'm moving forward in love. I'm moving forward in compassion. I'm moving forward in healing and joy of my heart, my soul, and myself. I am moving forward in what I love and towards what I desire. And the fact of the matter is, the King of Cups is the only king in the middle of the ocean, that is alone. Okay, he's alone with his throne in the ocean. Now you could argue that every single king and every single queen is depicted alone in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But this is a king that is simply a king sitting on a rock. And yes, it's implied that he's king of so much more, but we don't see it. And yes, it's implied in this world, you are to be king of so much more, but you are only a ruler of yourself, of your heart, of your ideas, of your passion, of your desires. You can only tell you what to do. It's even when we have little kids and we're sitting there, it's like, okay, now it's time to do this. And if they say no and they really kind of dig their heels in, it's hard. And you're sitting there and you're looking at this little tiny person. You're like, you're supposed to listen. What the heck? And yet that's a part of growing. So even if it's supposed to be, and this is part of development, if it's supposed to be that they kind of pit their wills against ours, what the heck does the rest of the world do? The rest of the world does that all the time. They pit their wills against ours. They say, oh, yeah, I'll do that. And then they don't. And you're sitting there and you're looking at things. You're like, oh my goodness. What the heck is going on here? And as you look at this, you realize the only person I have any control over, the only person I can tell what to do, and then make sure that they do it, is me. And even then we mess up. Oh, I'm not going to eat any pretzels, eats pretzels. Oh, I'm going to exercise every day, doesn't exercise every day. Things like that. Oh, I'm going to drink more water, forgets. Like, we mess up all the time. And if we mess up when we're ruling ourselves, what can we expect from everybody else? So this is really sitting there and saying, I only rule me. My heart, my soul, my passion, myself. I wear this crown and I walk in my truth. And that's enough. That's a mighty thing right there, because it propels you forward in love, in determination, in grace, in power. It has you be fierce. It has you be, dedicated. It's like, I'm going for it. I'm now going after what I love because I'm listening to myself, my soul, my power. I have this crown. I know this throne, and I will not be held back. And that's what you're doing during this time. There's some sort of release here that's coming in. And I see it as the embracing of the sensual within your life, the beauty that you want. And it's like, what is a life without beauty? What is a connection with our souls and ourselves without that, exquisite sensuality coming forward? It's like, where do I want to stand? What do I desire? And you're really looking at this with you and saying, this is what I want. And there's a part of you, as there is a part of all of us, where it's like, well, can I? Do I get to have this? Or is it all going to fall apart again? It's looking at the big moments in our lives. It's looking as we progress. And it can be, looking towards the future and be like, can I? Can I progress this way? Can I move forward this way? It's looking at the past. It's like, well, how did I mess up? And we point that out to ourselves all the time. These are my mess ups. These are my hurts. These are my pains. These are my disappointments. And we make that known. And it's kind of like we chastise ourselves so much for what others might have forgotten or said, yeah, okay, mess up, sure. But it's time to move forward. And it's time here to move forward, Leo. And to look at what you desire from life. To look at where you want to be, the big moments. And say, how do I want to proceed forward? What is it that I desire for myself, my soul? Because you are taking the reins and you are ruling. You are ruling your existence. And you are slowly and steadily fighting for that truth, fighting for that passion. It really has you in your inner self. You're going to be very connected to this, working through your fears, to this Scorpio energy on the 15th of November. So it's going to be around that time, okay? That is very, very powerful for you. I would say Spirit is saying 5 days before and 5 days after, all right? Which, if you're really sensitive to the moon, it can be before that. You can really be feeling that Scorpio energy even now, as you're moving forward towards things. Though I would say very much so that the full moon in Taurus, it has such a powerful pull to it during this time that it's a need to be grounded. It's a need to be secure. It's a need to be bountiful as you move forward and as you cut through doubts and fears, as you embrace what you desire in life, as you look at things and say, I get to move forward in love because this is the world that I'm ruling. And there's such a fierce passion here. It's such a, this is my life. And I get to live it the way I want to, the way I need to, the way I desire it. And it moves you towards a passion, a beauty, and a brilliance that is you. It moves you towards a connection with your heart that is absolutely amazing. Now, this is the reason for getting out of bed in the morning. And this is also fire sign energy. Leo, you are represented by the wands in the minor arcana. You're represented by the strength card in the major arcana. What you are doing here is you're embracing your strength of passion, of power, of brilliance, of understanding, of ideas, of the fire that moves you forward, okay, without letting the fire overrun. Because when we let the fire overrun us, okay, we can burn everything to the ground. And this is saying, I am balancing, because you are balancing here your heart and your passion. You're balancing your heart's desire and your brilliant tenacity, your brilliant truth, your brilliant understanding. And it is having you face, as you do so, okay, a lot of the heartbreaks that have held you back, that have kept you small, that made you doubt yourself, that, made you feel as if I can't. Heartbreaks, pain, and disappointment, hurt, despair, and things that you have come to despise. And these are the hurts that make us. These are the hurts that form us. These are the hurts that take away so much that is supposed to be a part of us. Oh, sorry. It's getting me emotional here. Because this brings up so much pain. This moon for you, as it moves you in sensuality of grace of self, as it has you seeing a solid foundation, also has you seeing all the hurt and all the pain, and all the disappointment. And the reason why we want to go sit on a rock by ourselves and just rule a world of one. But this hurt and this pain, it doesn't get to win. It just doesn't. I was listening to a song and it said, may all your days be happy. And I was like, well, that's a lie. All your days can't be happy. And to be told, may all your days be happy, makes you feel like when they're not, you're a failure. But there's also a sense of, may all your days have happiness in them. May, in the days of even your darkest despair, may you find a reason to smile. May you find a reason to smile. May you find a reason to move forward in beauty and in understanding, and not let the wounds fester and grow. And as you look at that, you look at the addictions of other people's words really messing with our minds, the addictions of wanting to fit in, the addictions of not being like everybody else. If you've stumbled across this channel, you are not like everybody else. You're not interested in what everybody else seems to be drawn towards. You're interested in you, in the betterment of you, in that connection with spirit, in that power and grace within yourself. And you're looking at things and saying to yourself at times, as I so often wonder, it's like, is it simply chaos that gets to run rampant here? And is it the fight against this chaos that we are put here for? To see, to comprehend, to embrace at times, but also to deny. Because a lot of times I think the devil rules this world with all the pain and all the suffering and all the anger and all the upsets and all the bitterness. And that divinity rules our hearts and the way we let this world affect us. And so here, we have addictions. We have coping mechanisms that we have developed from very young ages, there's disappointment in life, there's anger, there's fear, but there also gets to be happiness. And every day gets to have a spark of it, even in our deepest moments of despair. A spark of what makes us smile. And as we break the chains of what hold us to the conformity of others, what hold us to the denial of our hearts, and as we break those chains, the divinity gives us power, gives us grace, gives us understanding, gives us the fire to move forward. And it's like, it's time. It's time to be so much more than you had ever anticipated. It doesn't mean that it happens all at once, right? These aren't promises. These are what we do and what happens if we take the bull by the horn and we say no more. No more do I get to be a victim. I get to be a victor. No more am I going to lay down and be walked all over. No more am I going to deny my voice to me. This is my passion. This is my glory. This is my truth. This is my fire. And this is what I move forward in. And this is what shines so brightly around me. And as you embrace this, you embrace love. You embrace healing. You embrace grace. Because what you're seeing is that for so long, we have had the negative things from the people that were supposed to hold those glasses up to us and say, I celebrate you. That person who clinked their glass with ours and said, you got it. Who were supposed to be in our corner. And they failed us. They hurt us so deeply. And it's like, my goodness. How do I recover from that? How do I come back from that pain? And it's knowing. Because for a lot of us, this happened when we were small. Or this happened from a lover or a best friend or somebody that we just trusted or somebody we never expected. It's like, dude, I don't know you that well. Like, what the heck? Or I don't know you. What the heck? And it hurts because it feeds into insecurities that we have simply as human beings. We all fear not fitting in. We all fear, not being part of some group, even if it's a group of two, having one person that we get things with, or if it's being that group of ourselves with our angels. I mean, that comes from an evolution of mind and of soul and of saying, you know what, I'd rather connect with a pure light of being than with the corruption that is around me. And this is saying, okay, it's hard. And hurts come and they dig in their heels and they give us insecurities that last for lifetimes. And we may always be fighting against this. But I do not get to be defined by the negative words of somebody who is angry and disparaging within their own lives and within their own selves. That doesn't get to be my truth. And you're seeing that in the public arena. There can be something that happens that brings up a lot of insecurities, a lot of hurts, of pains, of anger. And then once you say, no, this doesn't get to be what defines me. This doesn't get to be how I move forward or how I see my life. You start a new journey. And this is the beginning of the hero's journey. This is the beginning of something so much greater than you had anticipated. Because remember, every hero's journey is a fool's journey when it started. Now, this isn't saying, run out, join the circus, or anything like that. I believe very firmly and very truly in responsibilities. I believe in upholding those responsibilities. And so here, with the Fool, as we move forward, we might start something on the side. As we're paying the bills and doing our due diligence in life, upholding what is right. There's something on the side that calls to your soul, calls to yourself, has you needing to move forward that way, embracing that spark. Because Leo, as a fire sign being, there's this spark, there's this passion, there's this determination around you that needs to be embraced. It's moving forward. It's moving forward towards what you love and what you want. It's moving forward towards what is so absolutely important to you. It's looking at where you need to be, body, mind, spirit, and soul. And it's saying, I can start this path. This path might start with opening up a journal and saying, day one, how will I embrace my grace? Day one, my conversation with my angels. And being opened about what you want. Having conversations, speaking out loud if you don't like journaling, if that's not your thing. Working things out as you go on walks. There is a myriad of ways that we can embrace the Fool. But it all starts with us thinking, I'm foolish. I can't possibly do this. This can't possibly be right. What the heck is going on here? Doing something where you sit there and you think, oh my gosh, the whole world is going to laugh at me. I'm going to be seen as a fool. And saying, well, does the whole world know me? Will the whole world ever know me? And if it is foolish, but it is right for me, then is it really foolish at all? It's a beginning of a journey. And the one thing that is promised on a journey is you will get tired and you will fall. You will falter and you will think that you are failing. You will think the end is never going to be in sight. But the secret is to keep on going, to keep on believing in yourself, to keep on moving towards what is needed, what you desire. And that brings you to what you love most in this world. That leads you to happiness and joy and brilliance and success. And I see the archway here, and I have such an affinity towards the Virgin Mary that it makes me look at that. And it's like, that's that archway. And all, deities of compassion, that's that archway to compassionate beauty of living. That's that archway to a celebration of ourselves and our souls, the new beginnings that come in with the new moon and always come in with the new moon. And there's a sense of rejoicing. There's a sense of greater understanding. There's a sense of new beginnings, of starts, of, oh my gosh, this can lead to new job opportunities. It doesn't have to be, tomorrow. It can be down the line. As you're looking at things and as you're building things, you have a plan. Other people might say, okay, well, that's not a plan. This is a plan. What you have is a sketch, an idea. For you, it's a plan. It doesn't have to be so spelled out, because sometimes when things are too spelled out, they get restrictive. It's like, ooh, that's a little bit too much. But you have this idea that is this plan. And it's a plan towards your passion, towards your purpose, towards what you love. It's a plan that brings you home, that brings you to your power, to your understanding, and to what you desire, that lifts you in a way that you hadn't expected and moves you towards what you love. And this is a beauty and a brilliance that cannot be, cannot be denied, cannot be reversed. And it leads you to the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, okay? Brings you strong connection to the Gemini full moon on November 30th. This is you cutting through doubts and fears. This is you asking questions. This is you getting curious. This is you looking at things not the same way as before or not the same way as others. And as you see this and as you're empowered by this, it empowers you. It empowers you in a way that says, I'm breaking the mold. I'm moving forward on a path that I need to. I'm seeing things. I'm taking in knowledge. I'm looking at things more openly, more honestly, more brilliantly. And it brings you to a balancing, to a justice of self, to a balancing of what we desire, of what we want. This is Libra energy, yes. But this is also a sense of discernment. And I dare say it's not discrimination in a, you don't get to be part of my group type of thing. But it is a sense of, no, if you bring me down, if you take away my power, if you hurt my soul, I don't have to listen to you. And I don't have to think that you matter. And it's in a powerful way that you are balancing the scales. This isn't for people who tell us things that we don't want to hear, but it's tough love. These are for the people who want to see us fail, who want to take away our brilliance, our beauty, and our power. And we're spreading our wings, and we're flying in justice and in truth of self, in discernment of the energies that we take in, and the power that is around us. We sit there, and what is it? What is the saying? The meek shall inherit the world. And with justice, okay, you think, okay, the meek shall inherit the world, then justice means that I just, I be kind, and I keep on being kind, and I keep on being as just as I can to those around me. Well, sometimes that makes you feel like an absolute fool, right? Because you're being taken advantage of left and right and left and right, and you're like, oh my goodness, especially with such a strength of power and such a grace and such an overcoming that you're having here of the negativity. You're really going to want to veer away from just being like, well, not worth anything. People spoke negativity over me. I don't get to move forward the way that I want to. It's like, oh no, you do. You do. It may not be exactly the way that we want to, because divinity is always changing things, and we move forward in divine meaning, in divine time, in divine grace, and not in the way exactly that we think we should be. But in that statement, I believe that if you go back far enough, meek means those who had swords but did not draw them. And that's insane. It doesn't mean that, again, you are that rug that people get to walk over. It doesn't mean that you hold back your words. It doesn't mean that you just let things happen. It means that you have the power to draw the sword, but you choose not to enter into battle, which is completely different. And that's the big piece. As you face the carnage that our souls can inflict on one another. Let's see what the moon has to say. Oh, goodness, that was heavy. Leo. How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? How will Leo be affected by the October 31st, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. All right, we'll put these right here for you guys to see. Okay. Faith. Self-reflection and purity. I like that. Boundaries, most definitely. It is time to release negative energy. Strong, strong, strong Scorpio presence. Prosperity lies ahead. Strong Taurus presence. I love this. This moon hits you hard. And the phases of this moon really speak to you. Okay? This is a powerful moon for you. This is a powerful moon, period. But it is extra powerful for you. Step out of your comfort zone. Meditate and contemplate. A win-win outcome is forecast. So we have here faith. We have faith over the King of Cups and the Chariot, over you moving forward in ferocity of your heart and being a king of your soul. Have faith in what you are creating and what is brewing inside of you, right? Of the connections that you are making and the power that moves you forward. Self-reflection. Don't be so hard on yourself. Reflect, but be kind. Don't sit there and look at your past selves and think, oh God, what a stupid idiot. Look at your past selves and open up your arms and say, I love you. I love you for every step of this journey. I might not have liked you, but I love you. And I will always love you. And see what that does. Just take a moment. Sit back, visualize yourself. Especially in the periods of our lives that we think, man, that was rough. I mean, I don't like who I was. Or I have learned so much and I cringe at who I was. And so here, it is self-reflection with kindness, with love, with respect for the journey that you're on and the journey you will always be on, the constantly evolving person that you are. It leads you to purity, purity of heart, purity of snow, yes. Well, that's what, it is all snow there. But as you're the Knight of Cups, it's you're defending your heart. You're defending the snow that isn't walked upon. The snow or that is walked upon, but isn't polluted. It's like the world when it snows. How everything gets quiet. How even the birds, stop singing. And the snowstorm is over. And you walk out the door. And the bird's song echoes off the snow. And the light shines brighter off the snow. It is that connection. It is that connection with the purity of the fallen snow. The purity of a cold truth of love. Of a setting the slate clean. Of a moving forward. And it brings you to boundaries with your heart, boundaries over hurts and pains, boundaries as you claim your throne and you put on your crown, and you see that beauty grows through boundaries. And as you face the devil, as you face what is holding you back, what holds you back, what corrupts, what denies, it's a time to release the negativity. It's a time to release the negativity that the devil so rejoices in. The negativity of this world so rejoices in us carrying. Prosperity lies ahead as you have the Ace of Wands, as you embrace your passion, your power, your brilliance. Prosperity lies ahead. And you have a strong connection with this gift that divinity is given to you that is rooting you during this time. You're crowned with taking it. And you have a strong connection with the beginning of this journey, with the 31st of October, where this prosperity lies. where the veil between the worlds is the thinnest, and where knowledge really starts coming at you at an intense and even rapid rate. It leads you to knowing to step out of your comfort zone, to leave the hurt and the pain behind, to not let it define as you walk a path that is right for you, but others might not get. You step out of your comfort zone, meditate, and contemplate as you embrace what you love, as you walk through that portal, as you walk through that great gateway to something so much bigger than you had imagined. And it leads you. It leads you to being a student of your mind. And it leads you to balance and a win-win outcome being forecast for you, if you have your mind open to the change of this world around you. Now, your subconscious Luna message starts with pleasure. Okay? Starts with an embrace of the sensual, with an embrace of the joy of the heart. And then it leads you to the full moon of Leo. It leads you to you, Leo. Don't let pride get in your way. Don't let your temper get the best of you. Don't let other people affect you so deeply. Stand in the worth of yourself and not care what everybody else thinks. And that will bring pure pleasure into your life because it will lift such a burden. And it brings you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the Queen of Wands. I love this. You have the King and the Queen right here. Whenever I have the King and the Queen from the same deck in the same reading of the same suit, there we go. It is amazing. It is a soulmate connection. It is a true love connection. It's a balancing of the masculine and feminine energy within you, around you. It is a fiery determination. It's like a crescendo of what you desire. There's a sense of reaching a peak of insight, of understanding, of ideology, of ideas, of desires, of everything. And it's like, this is what I'm creating. This is what's coming forward. And it's, oh goodness, it's such creative energy. It's like the energy pools in the palm of your hands. It's like, this is your time. This is your time. Seize this power. Don't waste this moon. Let it light your path because you're not walking in the dark anymore. We're going to leave that right there. Awesome. All right, Leo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we step into the brilliance of our being, as we know this passionate power of what we desire, of being rulers of our world, graces us with divine gifts, okay? Graces us with us taking the Ace of Wands as our own, these divine gifts of passion, power, and brilliance, and saying, I stand. Yeah, I stand in such a greater place than I could ever have imagined, and in a more powerful place than I had ever realized. And I will not be held back. And I will not be denied this grace, this power within me. So let's take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Leo.